Attraction doesn't come from what you add, but from what you remove. Take a moment and notice this. In any conversation, there are always two types of people. The first type. They talk a lot. Talk fast and talk non-stop, as if staying silent for just 3 seconds would make them disappear from the conversation. They tell stories in a rush. Try to make jokes, try to prove they're interesting. Try to fill the silence so others won't lose attention. But the more they talk, the more the other person drifts away. Their eyes wander, their smile turns polite. It's a kind of listening where no one is actually listening. In the second type, they are quieter, more observant, as if they could sit in a corner and still be noticed. When they speak, they don't talk for fun. They speak because they truly have something worth saying. Their words are few, but each one carries weight. It makes listeners wonder, there's something different about this person. Where does that attractiveness come from? Not from eloquence, not from appearance, not from trying to impress. It comes from what the Stoics call presence with weight. A state where you don't chase attention, you attract it. The Stoics said it clearly. Attraction isn't addition, it's subtraction. Attraction isn't about adding more. Attraction is about removing the acting, removing the impatience, removing the fear of silence, removing the habit of talking just to fill the gaps, removing the ego that constantly craves validation. And when all those unnecessary layers fall away, what remains is you clear, confident, grounded. Not the version trying to be liked, but the version that doesn't try, yet it still draws people in. And this is why you should stay. Because in the next part, we will go through 6 Stoic communication principles, each distilled into a few simple words, yet powerful enough to change how others see you, hear you, and feel you. Not to manipulate, not to look cool, but to communicate in a way that reflects your true character. This isn't shallow advice. This is the foundation of all lasting attraction. You're ready, right? We'll begin with the first principle, one of the strongest power signals, yet the one most people avoid. Just one word. But the way you say it will determine whether people respect you or not. Principle number 1, I can't. The power of a gentle but heavy no. Here's a truth very few people dare to face. You're not exhausted because you do too much. You're exhausted because you don't dare to say no. We grow up in a culture that teaches us to be nice to please others, to be flexible to nod so people will like us. But the Stoics are the opposite. They respect this truth. A person who cannot protect their boundaries will never be respected. A very real story. Imagine a man named Alexander. Alexander is the kind of employee everyone can count on. He helps with meetings, he works extra, he writes things for others, he tags along, he supports everything, he shows up for everyone. Except for his own life. People like Alexander because he's helpful, but they don't respect him because he's too easy. Then Alexander notices something interesting about his team leader. This man doesn't help blindly. He doesn't comply uncontrollably. He doesn't say yes to things he doesn't want. If he can't, he simply says 2 words, I can't. No anger, no resistance, no excuses, no justifying, just clarity, steadiness. He sets a boundary with calmness, not with emotional outbursts, and something worth learning happens. No one hates him. On the contrary, people respect him more. Because those who protect their time will always be valued by others. The Stoics taught this. Early Epictetus said, what hurts you isn't other people, but the fact that you leave your door wide open for every request to walk in, while others say yes to be liked. The Stoic says no to be respected. Why is one word no so attractive? Because it proves you and know what you want, aren't afraid of disappointing others. Value your time and energy, have boundaries, have a spine, have self-mastery. Deep attraction never comes from pleasing. It comes from clarity, a small principle that creates a big change. The next time someone invites you to do something you don't want, don't say, let me see. Maybe, I think I can. Or worse. Okay, I guess. Try just saying I can't. Soft, clear, not bitter, not dramatic. You'll be surprised how people start treating you differently, because now they know to have your time, they must deserve it. Principle number 2, I don't know. When truth creates gravity. In a conversation, there is a very interesting moment when someone asks you something, and you genuinely don't know the answer. This is when most people start performing. They circle, they dodge, they speculate. They make something up that sounds believable. or tell a completely unrelated story just to avoid feeling embarrassed. But Stoics are different. They don't turn ignorance into shame. They turn it into a sign of inner strength. No panic, no performance, no pretending. Just 3 simple words: I don't know. And somehow, that naked truth makes them strangely trustworthy. A very familiar story. At a reunion with old friends, everyone is trying to appear knowledgeable, up-to-date, and informed. Financial news, startups, stocks, new trends, real estate. The whole table becomes a knowledge performance, except for one person. When asked about the AI market, he doesn't pretend to be an expert. He simply smiles and says, "I don't know, but it sounds interesting. Tell me about it." The entire table stops. No one laughs. No one judges. Instead, his honesty feels like a breath of fresh air in a room full of people trying too hard. And the best part, people start trusting what he says more than those who talk too much. Because obviously, if he dares to say, "I don't know," then when he says, "I know," people will believe it's true. Socrates taught this 2,400 years ago. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. Not fake humility, but courage. The courage to face truth. And that truth helps people feel safe around you. Because you don't speak to impress. You don't speak to fill the silence. You don't speak to show off intelligence. You speak because you believe what you say is true. Why is "I don't know" so magnetic? Because someone who can admit not knowing is someone who isn't afraid of losing face, doesn't use knowledge as a shield, doesn't need to impress, doesn't need to prove anything, doesn't talk to fill emptiness, isn't competing in the who's smarter contest. That calmness reveals their steadiness. And steadiness is always attractive. But there's one important thing: you don't say "I don't know" in a way that avoids responsibility. Not "I don't know" and then ramble for 5 minutes to show you actually do know. Or "I don't know, ask someone else." That's avoidance, not Stoicism. A Stoic says "I don't know" and then stays silent. Or if they want to expand the conversation, "I don't know, but if you want, we can find out together." No performance, no teacher mode, no proving, just truth. And truth, even a small one, carries weight. Principle number 3, that sounds difficult. Understanding them before trying to fix them. In this busy life, there is something almost extinct. A person who truly listens without jumping in to judge or give advice. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to wait for their turn to speak. They listen just enough to interrupt with, "Let me tell you, you just need to, that's easy, why didn't you do this from the start?" They think they're helping, but all they do is make the other person feel worse. They're drowning, and you throw them a book on how to swim. That is not rescuing. That is criticism disguised as advice. The Stoic does it differently. A very real scenario, one that happens all the time. Imagine an evening after work. Your friend, let's call her Alexander, keeping the rule of using a single English name, sits down and sighs. "Work has been so stressful lately. My manager keeps changing their mind. I'm already on version 5 of the report and it's still not right. The reflex of 90% of people is, why don't you talk to your boss directly? You know you're actually doing it wrong. You should toughen up." Alexander doesn't need that, not now. What she needs is one single sentence that sounds difficult and silence long enough for her to feel that you really mean it, that her frustration is valid, that she doesn't need to be fixed immediately. Why is this sentence so powerful? Because it expresses 4 things every human deeply craves. I see you. I hear you. I don't judge you. I'm not trying to fix you right away. It doesn't belittle the problem. It doesn't downplay their emotions. It doesn't turn their story into your lesson. It simply permits them to be human. And in a world that demands we be strong, 24/7, that is the greatest gift. Marcus Aurelius said it beautifully. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. But most of us do the opposite, strict with others. Oh, come on, it's not that bad, gentle with ourselves. Everyone needs to understand me. The Stoic understands this. Real strength is not solving the problem for others. It's giving them space to see their own way out, like a dark room. You don't drag them into the light, you simply turn on a small lamp so they can see their own path. What happens almost magically when you use this sentence, people open up more. They share more deeply. They untangle their own problems. They feel safe around you They see you as someone with a steady mind, and most importantly, they trust you. Not because you're great at solving things, but because you're great at understanding. Understanding always beats intelligence in conversation. Part 5, principle number 4, silence. When speaking less makes people listen more. There is a strange truth in communication. People who talk constantly are often ignored. People who talk less but say the right things are the ones respected. Most people are terrified of silence, afraid of empty space, afraid the conversation will die, afraid they'll be seen as boring, so they rush to fill the gap with anything. Small talk, long explanations, filler words, random stories. They talk a lot, but nothing sticks. But truly strong people, they understand that silence isn't a lack of power. Silence is power. A familiar scenario you've probably seen. Imagine a meeting. Everyone is talking loudly, trying to push their ideas, except for one person, Alexander, who sits calmly, quietly observing. When asked for his opinion, he doesn't answer immediately. He pauses for 2 seconds, looks around, takes a breath, then gives a short, clear, precise sentence, and the whole room goes quiet. Strange, isn't it? He speaks less than 90% of the room, yet his words carry more weight than everyone else. Not because Alexander knows more, but because he doesn't waste words. Silence creates 3 forms of power that constant talking never will. 1. Silence creates weight before your words. When someone doesn't respond immediately, others assume he's thinking. Something important is coming. That anticipation gives your words impact. 2. Silence makes others reveal themselves. When you stay silent for a moment, the other person trying to avoid the awkward gap will talk more. And that's when they reveal what they truly think, what they worry about, what they hide, what they fear. Your silence exposes more truth than 100 questions. 3. Silence signals self-control. No one respects a person who talks non-stop out of fear of being forgotten. But everyone respects the one who doesn't need to prove anything. Silence is the signal of a trained mind, of a person unshaken by gaps, of a person confident in their presence. Seneca once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's deepest pains." People who fear silence are people who fear facing themselves. People who are comfortable in silence are those who have gone deep enough inside themselves to stop running. The magic that happens when you master silence, you become someone others wait for. People think twice before speaking to you. You become the anchor of calm in any conversation. Your words carry force because you don't speak unless necessary. And most importantly, silence makes others feel safe around you because you don't pressure, you don't interrupt, you don't compete, you're not in a hurry. You create space, and space is where other minds can breathe. That's why the silence of a strong person is always mysteriously attractive. Not loud, not flashy, but people lean in wanting to hear more. Part 6, principle number 5. I appreciate you. The way to make people feel truly seen. There's something strangely ironic about modern life. People get likes, hearts, emojis every day, but rarely feel truly seen. We're praised for achievements, results, things we produce, but almost no one is recognized for the person they are. And that's why these 3 words carry so much power. I appreciate you. Not, thank you for doing that for me. Not thanks for helping me. Not thanks for coming. Those phrases acknowledge actions, but I appreciate you acknowledges the human being. A short story, but enough to change how we see others. There's a man named Alexander, kind, helpful, always willing to show up. He's the type who is there whenever someone needs him, even when nobody asks whether he is doing okay. One day, after Alexander helped the team solve a difficult task, a friend in the group didn't say, "Thanks, man. Good thing you were here." Instead, he looked directly at Alexander and said, I appreciate you. Alexander laughed, then went silent. His eyes turned red, because for the first time in years, someone saw him not just the things he did, not the action, not the help, but the person. Just one sentence, but it touched the place life often forgets. Why are these 3 words so powerful? 1, because people today are treated like functions. At work, you are productivity. At home, you are responsibility. In society, you are a role. Nobody asks, "Are you okay?" What kind of person are you inside? So when someone hears "I appreciate you," their heart softens because they finally feel seen. 2. Because it acknowledges character, not actions. "Thanks for helping me" acknowledges a task. "I appreciate you" acknowledges a person. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look at a person's nature, not just their actions." To appreciate someone is to see their character, their integrity, their kindness, their consistency. When someone feels this, they bond with you on instinct. 3. Because it creates a deeper connection than any compliment. Not because the words are pretty, but because they address what humans long for most: to be recognized, not evaluated, not judged, not measured. Just, "I see your effort, I see who you are, and you deserve appreciation." But there's one important rule: don't overuse it. Say it too often and it becomes cheap. These words must be used with the right person, at the right time, with the right emotion. Used correctly, it goes straight to the heart. Used carelessly, it becomes a cliché. Reserve it for people who are consistent, kind, loyal, or show their true nature through their actions. When you say it and truly mean it, they remember you forever. What happens when you say "I appreciate you" sincerely? People feel seen. They trust you deeply. You become an emotional anchor. You build Stoic-style relationships, calm, strong, loyal, the most magical part. They will want to stay near you, work with you, share with you, not because of benefits, but because they feel they can be themselves around you. And that is the quiet attraction Stoicism talks about. Part 7, principle number 6, say no. The power of protecting your own time. If the previous 5 principles help you connect deeply with others, this final one is what protects you. Just one word: no. Short, clear, sharp. But for most people, it feels as heavy as a declaration of war. Most don't dare say no because they fear upsetting others, fear being misunderstood, fear being judged. And then what happens? They lose themselves, they lose their time, they lose the respect of others unintentionally. A very real story capturing the essence perfectly. There's a woman named Alexander. Alexander is kind, polite, and unable to say no. Anyone asks for anything, Alexander does it. She works overtime even when exhausted. She attends gatherings she doesn't want to be at. She helps with tasks that aren't her responsibility. Her mouth always says, "Sure, I'll do it." But inside, she's drained, burnt out, and feels like her life no longer belongs to her. One day, her manager tells her to stay late for an urgent task. Alexander is about to say yes, like always. But this time, she pauses for 1 second. She thinks about all the personal things she sacrificed, the emotions she buried the evenings she went home exhausted. And Alexander says, "I'm sorry. I can't." Not angry, not rude, not justifying with family issues or fake excuses, just no. The room goes silent, and the most surprising part: her manager nods. No complaints, no judgment, no disrespect. Alexander finally understands an important truth. People don't respect you because you say yes. They respect you because you know when to say no. Why is no such a powerful form of attraction? 1, because it proves you have boundaries, and boundaries create respect. No boundaries. Everyone feels entitled to cross them. Strong boundaries. Anyone who wants access must knock. People who can't say no are often seen as easy to control, easy to use, easy to replace. But those who say no are seen as principled, self-respecting, grounded. They're not colder, they're clearer. 2, because no makes your yes meaningful. If you always say yes, your yes means nothing. But when you refuse what's unimportant every time you say yes, it carries weight. He agreed that means he truly wants to help. She showed up, this must matter to her. You're not easy, you're valued. 3, because no frees you from living someone else's life. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to your goals, your health, your dreams, your family, your peace. Stoicism sums it up perfectly. You cannot master your life if you cannot master your schedule. People who say no at the right time are not careless, they're simply honest about their limits. How to say no. The Stoic way: calm, firm, without hurting anyone. 1. Pause. 1-2 seconds before responding. Don't say yes out of reflex. The small pause gives you control. 2. Don't over-explain. The more you explain, the more you weaken your boundary. No thank you. I can't. I have to decline. That's enough. 3. Don't make false promises. Don't say, maybe next time, if you know you don't want it. Kindness is not the same as dishonesty. 4. Respect yourself first. Others will follow. If you allow others to invade your time, they will. It's basic human nature. Epictetus said, understand the weight of your words before you speak them. Saying yes to what you don't want is betraying yourself. Saying no at the right moment protects your life. And when you protect yourself, people respect you more, trust you more, and want to stay close to you more. That is real attraction. Not the attraction of pleasing, but the attraction of integrity. Final section: the 6 Stoic principles of attraction. Ask deeper, tell me more, builds connection. Admit limits, I don't know, builds trust. Validate feelings, that sounds difficult, builds safety. Use intentional silence, builds gravity. Appreciate people, appreciate you, builds bond. Say no, builds value and respect. Not to manipulate, not to act, not to seem cool, but to become someone present, grounded, and aware of who they truly are. Stoicism always reminds us, attraction isn't about becoming someone else. It's about being calm enough to be yourself. You've just walked through 6 principles that gives your words weight, your presence power, and your character clarity. No tricks, no performance, just you real awake and steady the way a Stoic should be. Remember this. Attraction doesn't come from trying to impress. Attraction comes from having the courage to be yourself without needing permission. If what you just read makes you feel, yes, this is exactly what I need, then don't leave silently. Subscribe to Easy Stoic to receive weekly lessons that strengthen you from the inside. Leave a comment. Even a short one, I'm ready. I feel clearer, or anything you felt. Share this with someone who struggles with communication, gets hurt easily, or talks a lot but is never heard. One moment of clarity can change the way someone faces life. This is Easy Stoic, a place where you learn to be calm without being weak, speak less but speak with force, stay silent but be worth listening to. See you in the next video. Keep your mind steady, keep your heart calm, keep your inner light clear.